And besides the concepts we just commented, we can notice over here, this is a graph that the marketers of Graphisoft usually presented us. They compared a little bit the workflow we get in AutoCAD, the 2D CAD workflow, which is represented by this line over here, and the BIM workflow, which is represented by this line over here. If we oversimplify the project process to maybe 3 stages, well, 3 main stages, but keep in mind this is oversimplified. Of course, we have more implications and more process. We get the design process, documentation, and coordination. And clearly, something that will happen with BIM is if you are accustomed to spend a lot of time in the documentation process for the 2D CAD workflow, as you can see, all the time is concentrated on this stage of the project. But the main difference with BIM is that you take all this time concentrated for the documentation process and you invest it on the design process, which will give you, of course, positive and also side effects that we have to take into consideration. The first things first is that we will spend even more time now in the initial phases of the project. So yes, we have to be a little bit extra patient with the documentation, but the main advantage is that we now spend extra time designing the project rather than documenting. And once the BIM model, the central BIM model is done, which includes the 3D geometry, which includes the 2D information, there are many automated processes that ArchiCAD and Revit will simplify, such as, for example, the ability to create cut sections, elevations in quickly as 5 seconds. You pretty much just draw a line and you instantly get your cut section, you instantly get your elevation, you instantly got all the planification tables, the schedules for doors, the schedules for windows. Pretty much all this documentation is done automatically with ArchiCAD and Revit based off the BIM model you currently generated. And even so, the coordination process, you will notice that it's going to be much faster if we compare it directly with AutoCAD. But the main side effect of BIM is that all the time spent in the documentation process before with working with AutoCAD now will be invested into the design process. So keep in mind, you really have to be extremely patient on the initial phase of the project, and then you will see a lot of benefits on upcoming phases of your project. But generally, the marketers, even from Graphisoft and Autodesk, will tell you the same formula. You can optimize pretty much from CAD. If we take CAD as 100%, BIM will optimize this process at 30%. You will spend 70% of time you used to spend with CAD and work 30% more efficiently. Now, as I already mentioned, this is usually the graph that the marketers will present to you. They will tell you you can optimize this up to 30%, which is let's say a general idealized idea of BIM. But this is a little bit different because we also get these types of graphs which are included within this amazing article. Now, I really recommend you review this article. I'm going to include the link in the material for this lesson. And in the next lesson, let's comment one of the negative side effects that BIM might present to you.